Pittsburgh loves are their Pittsburgh Steelers and the weather. And tonight, both of those two things were in play. But one thing Pittsburgh does not love is when their defense cannot get the win right at the end. Good evening, or should I say good morning? It's probably good morning, right? It's 1:08 in the morning. The Steelers fall to the Dallas Cowboys in Week 5 by the final score of 20-17 right at the end. It is the Steelers postgame show right here on Oneberg, on our Oneberg Facebook channel, Oneberg YouTube, or maybe you're listening back on Spotify. I am Ed Troop. That is Brian Carruthers on the other side. It is the Shenderovich and Fishman PC postgame show. Brian, what a game, what a night. A weird night at multiple different times. We're going to talk about it here throughout the postgame show. It all started with a weather delay for over an hour, and that's why we're on here in the wee hours, early morning of Monday morning, October 7th.
Yeah, we were down earlier during the tailgate party with the log jammer, Barry Bonds, the log jammer. We were in a blast. We got out of there because man, it was just so crowded, and we kind of got everything we needed to do, but we wanted to be back for the game. We didn't have tickets. We're cheap. And I think right around like 7:30, we hit Ohio River Boulevard, heading towards like the airport, heading west. And dude, the skies were so dark, and there was so much thunder and so much lightning. Yeah, it was scary. Like, it was like driving into hell. It was like right out of Stranger Things. And then we get to the warehouse, and we're hearing, oh, this game's going to be delayed. And it was like, all right, good. That makes sense because this lightning that was heading towards Hines was just absolutely insane. So, yeah, weird start, bad finish, and everything in between was kind of like two teams that are both 3-2, that we don't really know a lot about them. We don't understand what makes them tick, how they process anything good, anything bad, and I think that's going to be the way the season runs.
Well, most of Steeler Nation, and including us, we talked about it throughout the first 3 weeks of the season. You were thrilled. You were pumped to be 3-0. I think we thought we were going to go 11-0 before we lost the game and got into that gauntlet of a schedule towards the end of the season. But facts are facts that, those first 3 games of the season really could have went either way, but they went in the Steelers' favor. And these last 2 games could have went either way, but they didn't go in the Steelers' favor as they lose tonight 20-17 right at the end. The defense was just gassed tonight. I think that was the biggest theme of the night. Our secondary did not play well. Injury to Nick Herbig certainly did not help things. But fact of the matter is, last week at Indianapolis, they started out extremely slow. The defense didn't get stops early. They got themselves in a 17-0 deficit in Indianapolis last week. And tonight, the same thing. Multiple opportunities to seize the game and win the game. And the defense just couldn't answer the call for the second straight week in a row.
Well, I don't watch a lot of NFC. I don't dig in too deep. I want to see what's happening in the AFC most of the time because it has to do with the Steelers. Let's not forget, man, there is a reason that the Dallas Cowboys do not give up on Dak Prescott year in and year out, and they want to give him more money and keep him there. He's a franchise quarterback, man. He should come in and beat the Steelers. If he didn't, most Dallas fans and Jerry Jones, I saw he was there tonight, they would have to be scratching their head thinking, how did we not beat these guys with this franchise quarterback that we have, especially on the last play of the game when really, it comes down to this is when you make your mark in the league. This was a Dak Prescott performance that will be notable because it was prime time, it was on the road, and it's getting them back into the positive. So anyway, that's the reason why Dallas keeps writing him those checks, and us lowly AFC jabronis were reminded about it this morning.
Dak goes 29 of 42 for 352 yards, 2 touchdowns, 2 interceptions, and that key drive right at the end. And, Brian, I'm kind of concerned about the Steelers secondary. I know Joey Porter Jr. came up with that big second half interception tonight, which, gave the Steelers a little bit of a boost there when they needed it. But for the most part, this is now 2 games in a row. Last week, it was Joe Flacco who came in Indianapolis, threw all over our secondary. And now this week, Dak Prescott does the same exact thing. I think the Steelers have a lot of concerns in their secondary right now. They've had 2 back-to-back really poor performances.
I know you did say Dak Prescott. I'm going to give you a freebie on that because it's 1:15 in the morning.
Sorry, Prescott, my fault. Prescott, my bad.
No, but in all
Prescott,
seriousness,
Prescott,
yes,
whoever.
we do have a serious problem. So, all right, if Dak Prescott is the guy deserving of all these millions and millions and millions of dollars, what's Joe Flacco worth? Nothing. He was like an insurance salesman. And I know he did a little with the Browns. Well, he came in and beat us. So the last two games are really disturbing because we've seen that somebody with marginal ability at this point of his career in Joe took care of us. Prescott, on the other hand, who should be like revving and ready to go, he took care of us. So who do you want to see, Ed, that we're going to say, what's a freebie game now? A third string quarterback, a backup quarterback, a franchise quarterback, a quarterback with no arms? There are no freebie games. So I agree with you. The secondary looked weak. This is the second time in a row. This might have been the fifth time in a row if we really broke it down. And there's no one on the horizon that I'm looking forward to play. Are you looking forward to seeing Mahomes on Christmas?
Not at this point. Not at all. I mean, our defense, which was built up through the first 3 games of the regular season as being the top defense in the NFL. Like I said, in these 2 losses back-to-back weeks, they've been nothing but not that. The number 1 defense in the NFL, just giving up big chunk plays at big times, not being able to stop a run. This is a team that was extremely banged up coming in, the Dallas Cowboys. And we'll talk about the Steelers offense in a second, but I'm just leaning on the defense to start tonight's show out, or this morning show. I keep saying tonight, it's this morning show. But our defense's lack of ability to get off the field on third down. They did cause some turnovers tonight, but the offense couldn't take advantage of those turnovers. And ultimately, it was Dak Prescott taking the offense. I say Prescott again.
Let me go back on this. You think the defense had a bad game tonight? Prescott didn't blow us out. I didn't think he played very good, but he did everything he needed to do. He needed that last drive or 2 drives to do it. The running back almost ended it for him with that fumble on the goal line, which was an awesome play by our defense. There's some Steeler football for you if you're looking for some silver lining. But Dak. This was like a Ben Roethlisberger performance. Dak came in and won when you needed him. So I don't know if I'm ready to bury the defense. I just don't know who I'm ready to say they can beat.
Well, he put together a 16-play, 90-yard scoring drive in that third quarter, which was pretty impressive to get them the lead. At the beginning of the fourth quarter, I should say. And then the Steelers offense comes back and they go 3 and out. And they had quite a few 3 and outs tonight on offense as well. This is a team that really couldn't establish the running game tonight either with Najee Harris. There were a couple signs here or there of some strong Najee runs, but for the most part, this was a defense that was banged up coming in, Brian. The Cowboys defense was without Mika Fitzpatrick, Lawrence on their defensive line. There are a couple others that went out. Their other defensive linemen went out early in this game as well. So they were down 4 to 5 defensive starters tonight was Dallas. And the Steelers, I thought their offense really couldn't capitalize on that. Shaky at times, man. I don't know. When Justin Fields – I thought the first series he looked fantastic. Then when he took that shot downfield to Van Jefferson in the double coverage that almost got picked off, I felt like that was a game changer for the offense. I felt like after that, Fields was rattled throughout the rest of the night and shaky at times. For every good play he would make, I thought there were 2 more plays where they were just misses.
Well, do you think a defense really has to prepare for Justin Fields? And what I mean by that is, yes, he's got some serious legs on him, and he does have a very strong arm. However, those 2 things aren't working together. So, our first couple plays of the game are designed runs for Fields, and maybe we do that to get him in the move and whatnot. I don't understand a design run for Fields. Again, I know the legs underneath him. We have Najee Harris for design runs. Why give away our whole playbook that not only are we going to – he's a pass second person as our quarterback, but now we're going to say, well, maybe he's a run play that's actually put in the book that we're going to call, which is kind of wild. We have an issue to define who our running back is. Is it Fields or is it Harris? Or is it that jabroni that we signed last week to first play against the Colts? So I can't remember his name. I hope he's gone soon. But my point is, we're losing. We have no identity in this. And this was the same point last year that we were kind of screaming, fire Canada. What's wrong with Kenny? All these things. I don't know. Is Arthur Smith blowing you away with like his ability to put together an offense that really is shocking the league?
Not so far, and I really think this is going to go back, and not that Justin Fields has done an awful job. Do not take this next comment wrong, but I think if Russell Wilson is healthy, you got to see what you have with Russell Wilson, right? You got to start him next week in Las Vegas against the Raiders.
Here we go again. You call for Wilson after every game, so now
you have. I just want to see him. I just want to see what he has. If he comes in and he's awful in the first half, then go back to Fields. But I think you got to at least see what he has. Fields' final numbers tonight, 15 of 27, 131 yards, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions,
okay.
6 carries on the ground, 27 yards rushing. Najee Harris, 42 yards rushing. The Steelers as a team, 92 total rushing yards tonight against a very weak Cowboys run defense.
All right, I want to get to some comments from our wonderful, beautiful viewers tonight who are staying up late with us. There's Deanna Vince. He's all over the board tonight. Sloppy game. America's team won. I do want to say this as we're putting up some comments. More Deanna P. Vince. Don't inspire Deanna P. Vince to talk more. This guy's blowing us up. How about Darnell? What's he saying? 5 games in, and Arthur Smith's offense doesn't attack the middle of the field. Have to move it downfield and middle of the field, give you a better chance. Need someone who can get it open. Ed, I just wanted to correct you there and say, how dare you say it's time for Russell Wilson? We got to see the Allen experience tonight when Fields, there was some confusion of, did he have a concussion? Well, here comes in, what's his name? Is it John Allen?
No, Kyle Allen.
That's
a
Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh's like, oh, you got Kyle Allen coming in. Kyle. Oh, boy, Kyle did a good job. Obviously, I'm joking. This is a Russell Wilson team when he's ready or if he's ever ready. But I was kind of hoping that Kyle Allen threw like a 40-yard bomb, and that was the beginning of a great career. It wasn't, unfortunately, but what was your take? What was our and by the way, what was our plan if Fields wasn't going to return to that game? That game would have been over.
Well, I mean, I thought Allen gave him a spark. He only had a handoff, but that big pass to Freiermuth that converted for a first down, I felt like that was a spark that the offense needed. Because then they went on a scoring drive after that.
Justin Fields was like, "Let me get back in there and do nothing. Get out of here, Allen."
Well, it ended up resulting in the go-ahead touchdown, or excuse me, that was the Connor Hayward touchdown in the third quarter that gave him a 10-6 lead before the Cowboys got their first of 2 touchdowns in the fourth quarter, one at the beginning, and then one, of course, the game winner with just 20 seconds left. I mean, Allen gave him a little bit of a spark, and then Fields came back in. He continued that spark, and I thought he kind of got his groove back a little bit too, but it was just too little, too much, man. I felt uneasy this entire game because I felt like the Steelers had multiple opportunities to seize the game, take control of the game, and they just simply couldn't for whatever reason. Maybe it was a miss here, miss there. The defense couldn't get off the field. But overall, I felt uneasy as the longer this game went on, which it felt like it went on for a 6-hour game tonight. I just felt more and more uncomfortable that they were going to have a chance to win this game.
Well, Scott Woods, he said no semblance of an offensive game plan. Scott's kind of right. I mean, what is our game plan in this? I know we're going to have Snoop come out and wave the towel. I feel like there was more game planning on what we were going to do with Snoop during the game than what we were going to do with Justin Fields, because it was just a lot of not much.
We have a ton of comments here. A lot of people not sleeping right now, pretty upset about this Steeler game, and they're up on Facebook and they're watching our show. We have a ton of viewership.
Is anyone going to work tomorrow besides us?
We actually, I'm looking at the numbers right now. We have more people watching us at 1:22 a.m. on a Monday morning than we do at 4 o'clock on a Sunday after a 1 o'clock Steeler game. So
that's what is Red Tube down?
It must be. Chris checks in. Chris O'Hara says the O-line. I can't. When I always get blocked out here. The O-line is really bad. There we go. Went against two of the worst run Ds in the past 2 weeks, and they couldn't run at all. Chris, that's
now look at Chris. I love that profile picture of Chris. He's got that button down. Looks like a really pretty woman with him. where's she at right now? She's like, Chris, come to bed. And he's like, now I want to put one more comment into Brian and Ed about, she's like, come into bed. I'm half naked. I'm awake.
Well, he
Jeez,
brings
I
up an
want to tell them that the offensive line is so bad.
He brings up a good point. A lot of penalties in this game tonight. 19 total between these two teams. 11 penalties for 87 yards for the Cowboys and the Steelers. 8 for 50. They had some costly penalties again tonight in different situations as well. Let's see. Offensive. Here's Mark Wilson checks in. Offensive sucks. It was Canada's fault. We have no wide receivers.
Wait, we're still blaming Canada for real? Like, we're still talking about Matt Canada for real?
Well, Mark brings up a good point because I'm going to give you the Steelers' receiving statistics, and they aren't good. Pat Fryer, excuse me, let me go back here for a minute. Najee Harris, 2 catches, 35 yards. Van Jefferson, 3 for 26. George Pickens, 3 for 26. Connor Hayward, 2 for 23. And Pat Fryermuth, 3 for 22. Man, that is like 2 or 3 catches for 4 or 5 different guys for like 20 yards each.
Well, and two things on that. We saw some sort of or we had no plan, or we saw some sort of mismatch with Connor Hayward tonight. It was the most we've seen him in action and passes going to him all season, maybe even last season as well. And then let's segue over, if we're going to kind of pile on. It seems like as we're talking about the listeners tonight, they're very angry. They seem like they're all fighting with each other, which I encourage. I really like to see everyone right now really getting mad. But speaking of Matt, George Pickens comes into the game tonight. He has in eye black something like always effing open. I guess that's towards Tomlin or Fields or whatever. He's just going to start having he's going to start having his AB mental breakdown here. But boy, is Pickens just a non-factor in our offense. I mean, we tried to figure out who's number 2, number 3, number 4 when we have shows at camp and talking to the Steeler insiders. Is Pickens our number 1 wide receiver right now, Ed, in your opinion?
I'm sorry, I'm reading a comment. I got thrown off. I don't even know if I want to post this one. If you
go ahead, let me see it.
It's kind of funny. Doug Dan checks in. Tomlin is a garbage coach. If you people are happy with 500 seasons when you're the reason this team is average, what are your credentials to be able to critique NFL players, you 2 fat, bald scumbags?
Wait, is that about us?
I don't know. I'm bald. I don't know if he's saying something about
hold on a second. Who is Doug mad at? So Tomlin's a garbage coach. If you people are happy with a 500 season, then you're wrong use of the word. You're the reason this team is average. What? Wait, hold on a second. A couple things before we go to the next sentence. How am I to blame for the season going bad? I'm the reason this team is average, Doug, you dope. And then he says, what are your credentials to be able to critique NFL players, you 2 fat, bald scumbags? Well, let me pose a question to you, Mr. Dunn. What's your credentials to critique an NFL coach, you piece of crap? You said all these coaches, Tomlin sucks, you suck, and then you scumbags, what's your credentials? What's yours, dude? Throw the phone in the river and go to bed, you loser.
And listen, man, you're not bald. I mean, that's the way. I mean, if you want to come after me for being bald, that's fine. But right. Brian is not bald. Leave him alone.
Yeah.
The passing. I agree with you about George Pickens, and I'm not sure if you saw it right at the end of the game. He took a shot. He took a shot at one of the Dallas players. They did throw a flag on it right at the end. The game was over, so I guess it didn't really matter unless it would, result in some type of NFL, fine or something for an unsportsmanlike conduct at the end of a game. But again, a very childish type of frustration things at that point, Pickens shoving a Dallas player to the ground. I'm not sure exactly what happened. I just saw the flag right at the end with Pickens. And, man, they need to get him active. When he's happy and active, the offense flourishes, but that's few and far in between.
Hey, just back to that guy. A lot of people are supporting me now that I screamed at that guy. I see James Filbert said, put your helmet on. You 2 scumbags would do better on 3rd down than the Steelers offense. Brian has 80% of his hair. Rob says, Dan, he doesn't get laid. He has no credentials. I think we have a name for our show finally. 2 scumbags.
2 bald scumbags.
2 bald. Well, you got to do the Al Michaels voice when you end the show. It'd be like, Oh, okay, partner. We'll see you next week in Dallas. For now, it's Steelers lose 17-10 for two bald scumbags. I'm Al Michael saying good night.
Gerardo Ramirez checks in. He says, hell no, I think this is referring to Pickens. He's done nothing for the past 3 games. We might as well trade him for Adam.
Put that back up there. What's Ramirez doing in that profile picture? Are you smoking weed? Is that
for Adams?
A vape?
By the way, I think there should have been an S on the at the end of Adams. I'm not sure. He's got a Steeler cap on though.
He's a Steeler. Cool, he looks like Carter Buford from Dave Matthews Band, the drummer.
He does.
But what's he doing? Is he vaping weed? Good for you, Geraldo.
Let's see what Jake Kennedy checks in. No class with a question mark. He was pleased. I would be too. Connor Haywood and Van Jefferson.
He didn't say pleased. He said he was pissed. Can you not see your screen tonight? You're having trouble.
No. Well, here's what happens you should start reading the comments because when I hit the go or hide, the word hide or go, what it does is it on top of the words it blocks them out.
So you're blocked. Okay, so Jake said no class. Right. He was pissed. I would be too. Connor Hayward and Van Jefferson to nobodies. We're getting more target than him. Arthur Smith screwed Justin Fields out of his job. Now let me go, but don't take that down for a second. One, looks like Mr. Kennedy, our viewer, looks like him and his wife are having a great time at Disney. By the way, the Disney Castle with the fireworks. Now that's class. Disney's Absolutely. Class. Jake Kennedy knows how to take care of a lady. But let me go back to this, Ed. He just said Arthur Smith screwed Justin Fields out of his job. Is it over for Fields, in your opinion, just like Kennedy's?
I don't think it's over for Fields at all. Do you? I mean, I do think Russell Wilson is going to get a shot because I think the Steelers want to see what they have in Russell Wilson, and there's only one way to find out. And he was the starter before the season started. Before he got hurt, he was the starter going into training camp. He was a starter in the offseason. Tomlin made it very clear in minicamp that Russell Wilson was quarterback number 1 and Justin Fields was quarterback number 2. Now, you're 5 games in, you're 3-2, 2 back-to-back losses of games you could have easily have won, could have went either way. Like I said, the first 3 games could have went either way. But you're 3-2, you're going to Las Vegas against a Raiders team that lost today, by the way. And you have a chance now on the road to get to 4-2 possibly. I think you got to put Russell Wilson in and see what you have in Russell Wilson this week. I think he should start if he's ready. And on the broadcast tonight, they said such. They said that he told reporters that he thinks he'll be 100% by next weekend and ready to go.
Wow. Well, the NFL script is writing itself. Wilson will come back. Let me ask you. Now I see Rob just said, and just like that, Baltimore's in first place. Hey, look at Rob and his lady. That profile picture looks nice, Rob. Good looking little side piece there, or wife or something. That's great.
Rob's right.
Why would I say side piece? And why would you put your side pieces picture as a Facebook profile? That's probably his girlfriend or his wife. They look fun.
Well, Rob's right though.
Now Baltimore, with their win against Cincinnati, now goes to first.
Yeah, the Ravens come back and beat the Bengals. The Bengals had that game won. Again, that was a crazy game that went back. By the way, both those teams, I watched that entire game this afternoon.
Yeah,
both those teams' defenses, awful, horrible. Both teams could not stop anything.
Well, look, are we really in a bad place, though? So, all right, Cincinnati sucks. Browns suck. The Ravens are in first place, and we're kind of knocking on the door. You're welcome, Rob. That's your girlfriend. Well, that's fun. I'd love to have a girlfriend. Anyway, okay, so this is kind of what we thought would happen. Baltimore's in first place. We're knocking. Cleveland sucks. The surprise is Cincinnati. So the only thing that's really good happening for us now, my man, is the rest of this conference sucks, right? The rest of this division sucks, or rather. So does that put us in a good place that we don't have to be fighting off Burrows for now, that we don't have to be fighting off Watson for now, and now we're going to try to start catching the Ravens and Harbaugh? That's not a surprise. So at least it's a place that we're familiar with.
No, I agree. And, Cleveland loses again today. The Browns are simply a mess of the season. Hey, Brian Davis checks in. I love watching. Again, my words are blocked out here, so I can't say. I love watching the show
before bed. I'll be dreaming of Brian and Ed. Now, that rhymed. I don't know if he did that on purpose, or maybe I read it a little too rhymey, but I love watching the show before bed. I'll be dreaming of Brian and Ed.
Oh, it rhymes. There you
Yeah,
go.
that's nice. Now, here's the
2
thing. This is our
points.
first late night broadcast. So, does he dream of us even when it's not late night?
So 2 points, 2 points.
Mhm.
And so just to finish up the AFC North conversation,
Yeah.
yes, Baltimore and Cincinnati both look bad as far as their defenses go today. Both Burrow and Jackson had big days.
Yeah.
But Baltimore wins that game. They're now 3-2. They're now in first place in the AFC North, tied with the Steelers. And then you have Cincinnati and Cleveland, too. Cincinnati, both teams are 1-4. The Brownies have lost 4 straight. Cincinnati now 1-4 as well. So they're kind of at the bottom of the division. So the AFC North through 5 games setting up with the Ravens and the Steelers at the top so far. My second comment is this. I was more offended about the bald scumbag comment earlier from the comments, but now I'm thinking about the fat part of it, and neither of us are fat. You know my track record. You know where I've come from, so I have to defend myself when it comes to fat.
Yes.
And we're not scumbags. Why are we scumbags? We're on here talking about the Steelers.
Scumbag.
What?
Scumbags is
Fat,
such a horrible term. Now,
Fat.
you know what? And maybe I'm bald. I mean, in the back it's happening, but that guy, that was unfair. And now look, we're labeled it. He changed everything. We came into this a friendly show. The Shenderoviches and Fishman, they loved us, and now they're going to get a memo tomorrow that says you sponsor the Two Fat Bald Scumbag postgame show, and they're going to go, well, what is that?
Well,
pull the money.
Well, like I said, out there's three descriptions. I'll give you the bald.
Yep.
I can't deny that. But fat and scumbag, get out of here. Get out of here.
Hey, Rob said we knew Baltimore would come back from 0-2, so no surprise there. But yes, what about Ravens and Bengals defense? Yeah, that was they looked a little weak, but hey, you got 2 good quarterbacks, and don't forget, there's a great chance. Don't count out Cincinnati. Joe Burrow is an incredible quarterback. He barely lost that game today. That was his kicker's fault, and that was a battle of kickers near the end. Burrow could come into Acrisure, and we can go to Cincinnati and lose both of those games. Let's go back. Ed Troop, the bald scumbag, my partner tonight, started this broadcast by saying how disappointed he was in our secondary and our defense. Let's go down the list. You don't think Joe Burrow can pick our defense apart? Everyone can pick it apart at this point. So, let's tap the brakes here. Let's think about how we can start rebuilding this and try to get on board with how we save this season, not how we lose it, because I have some better ways of how we lose it right now than how we save it.
And I think there's some concerns too. Alex Highsmith is still down with injury. Now Nick Herbig goes out tonight as well, maybe with a possible hamstring injury. That could be a few weeks. We'll wait to hear about that. And I also DeMarvin Leal, the defensive lineman, he went out with maybe a possible concussion as well, or a stinger late in that game. He should be okay, I'm sure, and come back. But yeah, the Steelers go to Las Vegas on Sunday. They'll play at the Raiders, who, again, as I said, they lost today. But a lot of question marks right now for the black and gold, man. I'm not going to lie. I think, what do you do at quarterback, Russell Wilson or Fields?
Let me ask you a question on that. And I see we get some more comments here on scumbags. As we get some more crazy comments. Okay, you like Russell Wilson to come in, right? Now there's that Carter Buford again, smoking that vape. So you like Russell Wilson coming back in, right? So you want to see that. Let me ask you a question. At 3-2, we'll be on the road, so you won't hear the boo birds, you won't hear the Fire Canada chants, but we're going to be on the road in Las Vegas. So we start Russell Wilson. If we're down 10-0 to Vegas, God forbid 17-0 like we were against Indy. Here's the new question. How long are you going to give Russell Wilson to be the guy? You can give him 5 games like you gave Fields, or in Tomlin way, is he going to be quick to pull the trigger and be like, put Fields back in the second half, and then poof, we have what Tomlin always loves, a QB controversy. We're going to come back to Acrisure. Both guys are going to be booed off the field. The team's going to be booed off the field. And here we are, life without a franchise quarterback. Hey, hi, Arlie. Look, Ed, it's our friend Arlie. He said hi from Charlotte. Hey, Arlie, I think you were late to the party. We have a new name. We have a new name for the show, Two Bald fat scumbags. So thanks for coming back to the show,
Hey,
Harley. And JB says trial and error here, figure it out. Okay, great, JB. And by the way, that's a great Willie Parker jersey he has on. But okay, let's figure it out then. We're going to do trial and error. Do you like Mike Tomlin? I know that, we don't have to go down the road of what you feel about Tomlin. I know 8-8 don't win Super Bowls, and he's not Chuck Noll. I get it. But look, one thing he is uniquely not good at is managing these QB problems. He really couldn't do it when Roethlisberger got hurt. He couldn't do it with Trubisky. He couldn't do it with Rudolph. He definitely couldn't do it with Pickett. So we're going to put Tomlin into a place that we know he's not very good at. I don't want to watch that show again.
Yeah, and I think, and I'm reading some of the comments are coming in, and it's, trial and error, and I kind of agree with that as well. I think you got to see what you have in Russell Wilson. Again, he was brought in here to be the starter, was brought in here to be the guy. Justin Fields has done a great job, through 5 games, sustainable, got him to 3 wins early on the last 2 weeks. Indianapolis, good fourth quarter. Tonight, again, a roller coaster of a ride. I really thought it took that Kyle Allen completion to get the offense the spark that they needed to Freiermuth on that touchdown drive in the third quarter when Fields came back in to throw it. But defensively, I think there's more questions, to be honest, than the Russell Wilson, Justin Fields in this offense. The questions right now in this football team more are in a defense that was ranked number 1 through 3 games, but the last 2 games has been nothing but not number 1.
Fine.
Some more comments. Fields did great, but they're tight, close games. He may not be the guy.
And I think you're doing a great job, by the way. Ed, I've known Ed my whole life. He doesn't do a great job with reading. But let me be honest. You guys tonight aren't doing a great job with writing. So you're really putting each other into a bad spot. And so Ed gets a pass tonight because I think people are laying in bed and it's dark. They're tired. They're probably drunk. And some of these comments don't make any sense, guys. Please.
I need you to read them though, because like I said, I get the first sentence is always blocked out on my screen here, or I could read
Brian
on
Davis
our
said Allen is the best QB on the team. He had the best preseason. He's the answer, but they won't give him the show. Brian, are you serious right now? Seriously, this is a conversation you want to have? Do we bring in the guy that was like the backup in Buffalo, and we're going to talk about a conspiracy that he can't? We're not going to give him the show. Heath Harper. Oh no, look at Heath. Now there's a nice couple. Heath and I guess his girlfriend or his wife. See, look, guys who wear glasses like us get good-looking women.
Well, see, when it's big like
football, will have more wins than the Steelers. What's that? Iowa, or is that Indiana?
I'm thinking that's Indiana, but I guess you'd put IUP if it was Indiana, Pennsylvania. So is it Indiana, like the state of Indiana, like
right.
where Larry Bird played?
Well, no, Larry Bird. Point, guys, everyone who's watching right now, please try your best to write sentences that we can figure out. Joe Barco. Now, Joe, you got to change the profile picture, man. You got that. You're looking down. I don't know. You got a lot of chin. Joe, you got to change that picture, man. And how about a smile? Didn't our parents always say, Joey, you got a great smile, buddy. Let's see it more. He said the secondary definitely needs to improve a bit and need to be better against the run late as well. Fine, I agree. Field hasn't looked that bad, but not sure if Wilson is the answer. I guess we'll see. I agree, Joe, my man. I want you to smile a little bit more. Oh, and he said that's his daughter. That's great. What a good-looking kid. Good-looking dad, too. I'm a girl dad, too, so I know the drill, Heath. Listen, back to my buddy Joe, Ed. I don't know. Do I think Fields should stay in there? Yeah. Would you pull Prescott next week because if he would have lost this game this week? I mean, is this what we're going to do now in Pittsburgh? Is nobody's safe at any moment, and wherever the Forrest Gump feather takes us, we aim and we fire immediately. We shoot first and aim second. That's going to be the Steeler way, the new Steeler way. I think we have Justin Fields until our off week. If we're in the deficit, maybe we talk about it. But Russell Wilson, him and Sierra are going to be at a suite in Vegas and not worrying about anything, especially getting hurt, because I don't think we're going to see him in that game.
Well, it'll be an interesting week ahead for the Steelers, that's for sure. They got to figure some things out, and they got to figure it out quick because Sunday at 4:25 will come quick when they're in Vegas to take on the Raiders. That's always a popular trip, right? I think for Steeler fans to go out to Vegas. They were out there last year. It seems like they play in Vegas all the time. I actually feel like they play the Raiders all the time. But a lot of trips out in Vegas for those games over there.
Well, everyone wants to see that stadium in person. I'd love to go out there. And what a great weekend, right? You fly in on Friday morning, drink, party, do the Vegas thing Friday. Saturday, college football, fantastic. And then you get ready for the big game. And then you take the red eye out on Sunday and you're home and you wonder what happened. I lost all my money. My wife divorced me. The Steelers lost again. Justin Fields started and he sucks. And then you have to go back to work as a mailman and you hate your life and you think, oh, I'm on this route. And that's how people go to jail, Ed.
That's exactly how they go to jail. Hey, James checks in and talks about Pitt being 5-0. How about that? The Pitt Panthers undefeated, and they're now ranked for the first time since the Kenny Pickett days.
Okay. 5-0. And look, I'm the first one to say I'm sorry. Papap Narduzzi rubbed me the wrong way all last season. And I couldn't let him off the hook. Every chance I had for one bird to kill him, I would. Now look, he's 5-0. That quarterback that they got from Alabama looks pretty good. And then, in typical Western PA fashion, John Funyak, he puts the fun in Funyak, says F Pitt, Penn State all the way. They're number 4 in the country. They are serious. They are very serious.
Undefeated.
Hey, where's Funyak at in that picture? He looks like he has like a beautiful woman on his arm. I can't see it. It's too dark. Looks like he's in a casino.
Arlie checks back in too and says that our injuries are killing this team, losing Herbig for potentially a few weeks. Yeah, that'd be pretty big again because Alex Highsmith is still out for the Steelers. So
we're just beat up, man. And hey, no other word. Our Samoans are out. We're not hearing about. Did you even hear about Fuatano at all this week? No. I mean, you don't even see him. I saw him on Instagram wishing like his sister like happy birthday, and I wanted to be like, forget your sister. When are you coming back? I don't think he is. How many more guys can we lose? There's only, Watt is having a fantastic year, but and he had that record tonight, which was exciting for his legacy. But man, he's going to soon be in there with not ready for prime time players.
And we get some more comments in here. Brian says we were drafting a quarterback from Colorado. I guess that would be what Sanders, Deion's son.
Shedeur Sanders.
Shedeur Sanders. Is that who he's referring to, I guess?
Yeah.
To match up with that TP ego.
Shedeur Sanders will be like big egomaniacs together. I don't know, man. I'm a little bit torn on that. Before I make that comment, look at John Funyak said, yes, that's my wife. And yes, a Cleveland casino. Great call. No, Mr. Funyak, great call by you on that hot wife and that. Hey, let me quickly say, Shedeur Sanders is never coming to Pittsburgh unless Tomlin and Deion are more in love with each other than we think. I hope that's not the case. I can't figure out Shedeur Sanders. Deion has cultivated that moment for him at that quarterback when he was at that small school in the South that I can't remember. Then he takes him to Colorado. He's good, but he's not beat Oregon good. So I don't like that. I don't want to see Shedeur Sanders Steeler.
Well, did you see though? He met with Davis, the owner of the Las Vegas Raiders. They met up. Sanders,
Shedeur.
Yeah, Shedeur and Brian Davis. Al Davis. Jr. Or the kid out there. Hey, it's almost 2 a.m. All bets are off that we can't remember different names at this hour. Real quick, you mentioned it. We do have to talk about it. TJ Watt. I think he had 2 half sacks tonight for a total of 1 full sack. And that puts him over 100 for his career. If my calculations are correct, that's 100.5 sacks on his career. Only Reggie White got there quicker than TJ Watt for a number of games. So
amazing.
Watt
100. There's only one person I know who's had more sacks than TJ, and that's your mom, Ed.
There it is. There's that joke again. You've had that. You pulled that back out for a second time. That's like the second time in weeks. Hey, what's your thoughts? And again, I know you mentioned it earlier, and we'll wrap up here shortly because we're getting close to 2 a.m. My goodness.
Well, we still have comments. I see John Funyak has said he's very upset about this game. Why, John? We got that wife. You went to the casino. Maybe you won some money. How upset are you? And then Geraldo's back, Ed, the guy with the vape. He said the Raiders Stadium is really nice. I went. Let's see again, Geraldo. We need you to write complete sentences. I'm helping you. The Raiders Stadium is really nice. I went to the Steeler Raider game last year, and it was perfect home opener for the Steelers. You're right. Everyone wants to see that stadium. Jared Breivik says, let's fire Mike Tomlin. I'm sick of this. No playoff wins in 8 years. And that's okay. 4 question marks. Mr. Breivik, calm down. It's 2 a.m. Relax a little bit. Funyak again. How do we lose this Cowboys team? I agree. All right. Heath and his daughter are back. TJ Watt, as long as Lynn is head coach. Tomlin. I think he means Tomlin. Will never experience a playoff victory.
I'm impressed, man, that it's 1:48 Monday morning and we have good viewership here, and we have a bunch. We have more comments again. Like I said, at the wee hours of an early morning than we do at 4:00 on a Sunday after a 1:00 game. Hey, your thoughts on Snoop Dogg tonight?
Well, it's great to see Snoop, right? I mean, he's become an icon. Every person that sees him loves him. Now, there is a controversy. People do say on Lundberg that he's a fair weather fan. Whatever. No. I mean, he's a celebrity. He's all in on Steeler Nation, I think. Now, he's worn other things, but come on, guys. Cut him a break. He's Snoop. Does everything have to be controversial? Snoop is undeniable.
Well, here's the thing about Snoop. He grew up, and he talked about it tonight at halftime, grew up in the 70s. So he grew up, if you talk to anybody with that generation where they were, 5 or under, 5 to 10 years old, 15 years old, and they grew up during that 70s. A lot of people became, wherever they lived in the United States, Steeler fans or Cowboy fans, because those were the successful teams. It's kind of the equivalent of the last 10 years of people around here that are Patriot fans, right? Or Chief fans, they're like 13 years old. Days. Yeah, it's
hey, Snoop doing Renegade tonight, man, was great. That was so fun to see.
But Snoop's legit, man. He's been a Steeler fan for a long time. I mean, that goes back like 20, 25 years ago. I remember seeing Snoop Dogg didn't he wear the in the Gin and Juice video? He wore the Pittsburgh Penguin jersey, remember?
Of course, that's the diagonal Pittsburgh on it. He had the girl was teasing out his fro. One of the most iconic moments in rap music.
I think he wore
some comments here. I guess I'm all fired up. Heath Harper and with the picture with him and his daughter said the Rooney Rule is giving Tomlin a free pass for life. Aren't we over this conversation too? I mean, we think Tomlin doesn't deserve to be the head coach of the Steelers. I mean, Ed, do you feel this way that Tomlin is free to do whatever he wants because of the Rooney Rule?
I think no, I don't. But I think this goes back to Steeler fans just being frustrated by the lack of playoff victories, the lack of winning, more than just 1 or 2 games over 500 each season. You got to pick your poison, right? Do you want to see what the Pittsburgh Pirates are doing? And I'm going to bring up your Pirates. Do you want to go on a playoff run for 3 years, put all your money in the bank, and then go another 20 years with no winning? Or do you want to be consistent every year and be competitive every year? And you're going 9-8 or 10-7, and you're bowing. Everybody wants to win playoff games, but you're losing a first-round playoff game. But you're competitive. We're still watching games in week 16 and 17. We care rather than in week 7 or 8, your season's over. So
but remember, let me
what do you want
for a second? That is from a distant perspective. That's from the 500 level. Tomlin doesn't have the luxury to decide what he wants to do and what doesn't. And baseball is designed to do that, but football is not. Football is designed for parity because of that salary cap. So I don't know. That drives me crazy, the Rooney Rule. Where was that guy? Snoop and Martha Stewart would be an upgrade on the offense. What positions would they play? If we had Snoop and Martha, if we upgraded our offense, what position do you think they'd play, Ed?
I think Snoop looks like a wide receiver, right? Martha Stewart, quarterback. She seems like a leader,
Snoop's
right?
Son goes to Notre Dame, doesn't he?
I think all those guys go out
He's
there.
a wide receiver.
Hey, it's 10-4. Well, now it'd be 10:52 in California. Maybe that's where Gerardo is checking in at. I'm not sure. Hey, one last comment before we wrap up our post-game show here from John, who says, I would rather see a Pirates championship than another Steelers Super Bowl. Well, John, you've clicked all the boxes for Brian over there with that comment. Your profile pic, your comments tonight, and then now you have the Bucko reference. So congratulations. You got Brian on your side.
Yes.
We'll go to a couple more.
Let me go. Penn State said national champ is actually Penn State natty champ is actually number 1. Though Funyak wants to see them be number 1. That's fine. Let's see what other comments we have. Ed, let's bring up some comments. I'll read them for you. Go ahead. Let's click them and see what the gang.
Since I can't read.
Justin said, "How do we lose at home with these amazing, high-quality players versus the Cowboys team that had a slew of injuries?" I agree, and that's why the biggest problem is it's Prescott versus Fields. Dak Prescott gets the money, man. That's why Dallas isn't letting him go or playing this game. Here's the difference. Chicago knew or knows or does know or does, everyone knew in Chicago that Justin Fields was a jabroni. Dak Prescott gets bad press because there's a lot of Dallas Cowboy haters out there, and people love to hate on them. But the truth is, if Fields was as good as Prescott, he would be a bear right now. And he's not. Sure. And so that's the difference tonight. Those guys are the difference.
20 seconds left in the game. Once again, it's the touchdown pass to Tolbert. Puts the Cowboys up 20-17. And that beats the Steelers. They go to 3-2. They will go to the Las Vegas Raiders next week. Brian, a game in Vegas. And the Raiders today, I know they lost. Just let me bring up that score for our audience.
Funyak said true that. Heath Harper said, Brian, watch out for IU. I don't want to watch IU. I'm not watching IU. I'll tell you what I am going to watch. I'm going to watch Ohio State versus Oregon this week. That was some nice publicity. So I'm excited for that game. Everyone loves a battle of the top 5.
The Broncos beat the Raiders at home today, 34-18. Now all of a sudden, Denver, they're 3-2, and Vegas 2-3. As your Pittsburgh Steelers go to Vegas next week at 3-2. And John checks in again and says the Raiders are dysfunctional. Yeah, the Raiders are in a bad place. I don't know if you saw it. You saw Devontae Adams once traded, and then also today coming out and saying if Adams goes, then the rest of the team basically wants to be done too, it seems like. So they got a lot of drama out there in Vegas right now.
But look, and I'm not getting involved with it. I know all these guys who are up laying in bed next to their wives that are sleeping are ready to. Ed, are you ready to jump into this Devontae Adams conversation the same way you and I argued and talked about Brandon Ayuk for what felt like 10 years? We're going to do this again? Like, didn't we learn that this isn't real?
So 2 thoughts. One, you're absolutely right. This isn't real. So yes, we could start and end the conversation right now. They're not going to get Devontae Adams. But I will say this. Devontae Adams would look nice in a Steeler uniform opposite side of George Pickens. So I would absolutely love to see that happen.
Okay, yeah.
But it's not going to happen.
So Pickens can catch 2 passes and 1 traded as well. Let me ask you this. Ayuk, I think did he play his first game today? Was he in after some injury or something?
I'm not sure if he did anything or not. I have to look that up as well here.
You think Ayuk is really upset that he didn't get a chance to come in and play in this game tonight to make sure that like Fields could only see him for 1 or 2 passes that were like short throws? Like Ayuk has to be like giving this whatever agent worked the Steelers to help this and make sure he didn't come here is a genius.
2 things. 49ers lost to the Arizona Cardinals today at home, 24-23. 49ers are now 2-3. Of course, McCaffrey's been out all season.
Yes.
Ayuk, big day, though, man. Big day. 8 catches, 147 yards. So I believe that's his first.
Do you think if he played for the Steelers, he would have done that?
No. He's only had – that was his biggest game so far this season. So he's only caught like an average of 5 or 6 balls for like 40 yards a game until today. He had a big day today.
The only player who caught more balls today were your mom.
Bingo.
That was pretty good. Wasn't that good? Okay, listen. Well, my point on this is Ayuk made a great decision. Don't come to Pittsburgh and not get passed to. And that's what Funyak says with his hot wife in the casino. No wide receiver wants to come here. I agree with you, Funyak. Why would anyone want to come here at this moment? There's nothing going on right. And the next guy will be at the end of the year is when we find out, big surprise, is that Najee Harris will not want to re-sign to be here to end. He stumbled through Pickens. He stumbled through Big Ben. And now he's like, what do I do now? Now I'm stumbling through Justin Fields. My whole career has been wasted in Pittsburgh. I'm rich, sort of, but my whole career has been wasted. I don't want to see what happens next year. I don't want to see Russell Wilson's son be our quarterback or Shador Sanders. I want to win a Super Bowl before my legs fall off, and he will be the next one to go.
Todd checks in, says next week we are going to make the Raiders look good with this defense and offense. Anything's possible, Todd. I mean, look, Alabama lost to Vanderbilt last night. Who would have thought that would have happened yesterday? Or I guess that was yesterday. I don't think it was last night. The number one team in the nation against a Vanderbilt team goes down after a huge win against Georgia the week before, man. Anything's possible. Any given Saturday in college, any given Sunday in the NFL, anything can happen. Fact of the matter is, though, man, I hope these last two losses to the Colts and then tonight at home against the Cowboys aren't two losses that we look at the end of the season when they miss the playoffs and say, man, if they could have only won one of those two games they should have won or could have won, that could have made the difference between them making the playoffs and not making the playoffs. Sometimes these losses come back to hurt you later on in the season.
Well, look, there's one reoccurring theme that I point to of why we lost these last two games, why we have two losses. It's that Justin Fields cannot run a 2-minute drill to win a game. We weren't challenged in those first games, thank God. But the Colts, we made a nice comeback, and then we saw Fields take the ball to the head, make a weird throw. He's not telling Najee to stay focused, and we lose that game. Tonight, we also had the same opportunity to win that game and put it away, and we didn't. Dak does. Now, that being said, I don't think we're that bad of a team. I think we're in the middle. We're in the Royal Rumble. We're 15th. We're kind of battling around a little bit. We may pull out a playoff. We may pull out a Super Bowl. Who knows? But as of right now, we're going to need a lot of luck in this.
On that note, it's 2 a.m., just about to turn 2 a.m., and I think that'll do it for our Steeler postgame show for tonight, my friend.
Wait, you're ready to go to bed?
I am, man. It's 2 a.m., baby. What else you want to do? You want a couple more comments?
I'm just getting fired up. I'm just getting ready to go.
You're just getting ready to go.
I'm going to give my home phone number out to all these guys, and we can all talk offline.
I was going to say, we can always do this. Hold on.
Yes.
I'll go to sleep, and then here you go.
Well, here's the problem, though. You have the button to control when people's comments come on the screen.
As I said, we just keep going all night long, man. We just keep going all night long. No, in all seriousness, that should do it for our post-game show. The Steelers fall 20-17 to the Cowboys. It is the Shenderovich, and Fishman Steeler post-game show. For Brian Carruthers, Ed Troop signing off for now. We'll see you next Sunday after the Steeler Vegas game. Brian's going to be live in Vegas. Game? You're taking the Logjammer to Vegas, right?
The Logjammer deserves Las Vegas Boulevard. There's no doubt about it. Going down that street, we looked for Snoop tonight in a big way, but man, it was crowded down there. It was the one part I'm really bummed at, and I'm not someone who. There's Geraldo said good night from California. Brian Davis says good night, honey. James said go over to Ed's mom's house if you're all fired up. That's terrible. Ed's mom is such a sweet woman. That's terrible, James. How dare you say that? That's terrible.
That's true.
And I'm not. You're more of a diehard Pittsburgh Steelers fan than I am. I live and die the Pirates, which is really pathetic. But it is a bummer because tonight everything was perfect down on the North Shore, man. Acura was buzzing. Snoop Dogg was there. The rain delay was cool. The crowd was hyped up. And I thought, there's like a magic in the air. This is our night, and it's not. Don't believe in the fairy tales, everybody. Wait, Funyak's going to go to Vegas with us?
It sounds like he's in, man, with the Logjammer. Let's make it happen.
Now, see, Funyak and the wife in the casino, here's a little tip. Tell her I'm bringing home the Logjammer. See what she thinks. If she's a Pittsburgher, She'll love it once.
She'll
Love it.
absolutely love it.
Only once, though, Ed. You can't do that. You can't keep going back to the logjammer joke. But if you do it once, good luck to you, Mr. Funyik.
I think he's in. He's in to go to Vegas. We should make this happen next week. We can do the post-game show live from Vegas.
Brian, Ed, and Mr. and Mrs. John Funyak. We put the fun in Funyak.
He's in, man. He's in. We got to make this happen.
Geraldo Ramirez, listening in California, said, I call 21-16 Steelers for the win at the Raiders. Okay, Geraldo, we'll see.
I like Gerardo, man. I'm glad he's on here with us. He's from California, taking in us, taking in the Steelers. Good stuff, man. I agree.
You remember
21-16.
Is that Geraldo, Rico Suave?
Is it Gerardo or like Gerardo Rivera? I'm confused with my Gerardo or Gerardo. It's 2:03 in the morning, Gerardo here. What's that?
I like hearing you say both names. I do like that a lot. Brian Davis just said it's only 1 a.m. in Biloxi. That's
so
true.
These guys that are on, it's still early for them. For us, it's 2:03 a.m. So
Justin Travis just said, good night, fellas. From Toledo, go Buckeyes. Hopefully next week will be better. Yeah, I hope so, Travis. And look at that family. Wow, him and his wife are busy. They're like, I got 4 little ones there. Boy, you got your hands full. Go to bed, Justin. You need all the rest you can get.
All right, on that note, that's going to do it for the Steeler postgame show for this week. It is the long Pittsburgh goodbye for Brian.
Are you going to end it like Al Michaels?
We will see you next week live from Vegas.